Good day, I am Anala Hardin, ID 123, and I'll be teaching CALENG1 Long Quiz 4. As you can see, they are similar to what we did in normal derivatives. In partial derivatives, we deal with functions of several variables. It means to say that the dependent variable is expressed in terms of multiple independent variables. This might seem intimidating at first, but really the only changes you'll do is, for example, here you have z is equal to f of x and y. And you want to get the partial derivative of z with respect to x. Ang gagawin mo lang is you express the function in terms of x only. So dito ka lang concerned. And make every other variable constant. So, yung y lang naman yung other constant dito. So, yung y variable, considered na constant. So, that is if you want to get the partial derivative of z with respect to x. So, yan. Nilagay ko to para hindi tayo malito. Yung y, constant. Same goes with y. If you want to compute naman with respect to y. So, focus ka sa y, lahat ng other variables, gawin mong constant. So, constant yung x. Here are the notations. So make sure to familiarize yourself since your prof could express the partial derivatives in different ways. Ito in terms of x, and ito naman in terms of y. Halos same lang naman. Just note that when writing functions like this is variable 1, and this is variable 2. So on and so forth. Kung marami ka naman variables dyan sa function. So the number here indicates pang ilang variable siya. Kunwari, ito. Gusto mo ang partial derivative of z with respect to y. Y is the second derivative, second variable rather. Kaya 2 yung nakalagay dito. Okay? Sa x naman, since x yung first variable na nakastate dito, 1 yung nakalagay dito. Okay, so let's have an example na. So we have a function here. Then you're asked to get the partial derivative of the function with respect to x and with respect to y. To get that, sige, unahin natin yung with respect to x. So kapag with respect to x, that means yung y natin, constant. Lagay natin dyan para hindi ka masyadong malito. It will serve as our guide then. So ano muna yung may terms na lahat na may x? So this one and this one. Ito, constant na. So if you differentiate, if you get the derivative, this will just essentially become 0. Pero ito, sige, focus tayo dito. So ito may x. So ano yung constant natin dito? 4. F of x is equal to 4 times, ilabas mo na lahat ng constant. So ito, ano yung derivative ng x squared? It's just 2x. Okay? Dito tayo sa second term. Ano yung constants mo dito? Since you're getting yung with respect to x, lahat ng y niyan, you treat it as a constant. So lahat yung constants mo dito is negative 2y squared. Constant yan. Times ang derivative nung variable na concerned tayo, which is x cubed. Which is just 3x squared. Write it down first. Ito, sabi nga dito, y is constant. So ito, constant to. So this is just plus 0, then 4 lang yan, so plus 0. If we simplify this, we get our final answer. Derivative of the function with respect to x is just 8x minus 6 x squared y squared. Yun na yun. This is your final answer. So that's the first one. Similar lang yung method for if you're concerned kapag with respect to y. X naman yung constant mo. So, f with respect to y is equal to, yung una, again, kapag with respect to y, lahat ng x treat mo as constant. So this is just 0. Next, ano yung constant mo dito? negative 2x cubed. Kasi sa y ka lang concerned. Ito, i-treat mo lahat as constant. So, lagay mo dito. Negative 2x cubed. Then, ano yung derivative ng y squared? It's just 2y. Okay? Plus, ano yung derivative ng 5y cubed? It's 15y squared. And yung 4 is just 0. Kasi derivative ng constant is 0. So, if you get yun naman yung partial derivative ng function with respect to y, if you simplify this, you'll just get negative 4x cubed y plus 15y squared. And this is your final answer. Now we move on to higher order partial derivatives. So again, this is variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4, variable 5, and variable 6. Just recall yung higher order derivatives before. Pero ito kasi, baka malito kayo. Yung challenge dito, I think, is more on yung notation talaga. And yung concept ng partial derivatives. Kasi, for example, you first want to get the partial derivative of the function z of the function with respect to x. So, ito yung notation nun. And same as dito. F of 1 kasi first variable yung x. And everything else, lahat ng other variables, constant yan. So, ganyan yan. That's how you solve it. Then next, what if you want to get yung result dito? You want to get naman yung partial derivative nun with respect to w. So, yung notation nito is f of x of w is equal to parang second derivative of z, dw dx is equal to f13, then this is just expressing na everything else is a constant. Stop muna tayo dito. What happened? So dito, nilagyan mo lang ng w dito. Okay? So this is from left to right. Left to right. Ito, bakit siya 1, 3? Kasi una, kinuha mo yung partial derivative with respect to x, then kinuha mo yung partial derivative with respect to the third variable, which is w. Kaya siya 1, 3. So this is also from left to right. However, when you're using this notation, baligtad siya. So take note of that. Ito, d squared of z kasi second derivative na. Ito naman, from right to left siya. So, di ba unang kinuha mo with respect to x, then with respect to w? So, mahuhuli yung x, then, ito, mauna yung dw dito. So, let's apply it for the last time. Let's say you want to get naman the partial derivative of the function with respect to s. Okay? So, x, w, dagdagan mo lang na s. So, from, again, left to right. Ito, 1, 3, 5, y5. Kasi fifth variable yung s dito. Left to right. Then, everything else except s is a constant. Then, dito naman, it's right to left sa notation na to. So, sulat mo muna yung itong ds, dw, and dx. As you notice pala, itong symbol na to, it denotes partial derivatives. Yun. If di nyo na-notice dun sa when I listed down the notations earlier. There. Okay. So, I hope that sinks in. So, let's have an example. Ayan. Let's get the partial derivative of this function. Tas ito yung hinahanap niya. Una muna, with respect to x, then with respect to y. So, parang ginawa natin kanina. With respect to x, lahat ng y dito? Lahat ng y dito, lagay lang natin para hindi tayo malito, ay constant. So, f of x equals to, ano yung constant mo dito? 7y raised to 4. Okay? Yung concern ka lang is si x squared. Ano yung derivative ng x squared? That's just 2x. Minus, derivative ng 5x raised to 8 is just negative 40x raised to 7. Then, ito, again, y is a constant, so this is just 0. Ito, ano yung constant mo dito? 4y cubed. Then you get the derivative of x cubed, which is 3x squared. So if you simplify this, you will get your answer for yung derivative of this function with respect to x, which is 14x y raised to 4 minus 40x raised to 7 plus 12x squared y raised to 3. Okay, so yan na yun. Pero, gusto natin xy. So, itong nakuha natin dito, kunin natin yung partial derivative na to with respect to y naman ngayon. So, fxy, ngayon naman, lahat ng x constant. Yan. Huwag kayo malilito ah. So, we'll get fxy is equal to lahat ng x constant. So, anong constant mo dito sa term na to? 14x times yung derivative ng y cubed, y raised to 4, which is 4y cubed, minus lahat ng x constant, so this is just 0, plus, ano yung constant mo dito? 12x squared, times, ano yung derivative ng y cubed? 3y squared. If you simplify this, that would be your final answer na. So that's 56xy cubed plus 36x squared y squared. Let's proceed. This time, you're given an implicit function. I think you're already equipped with the knowledge needed to solve this. So let's get right into an example na agad. Very similar to implicit differentiation of normal derivatives, may mga variables talaga na gagawin mong constant. So wag lang kayong papalito. So let's get this first, yung partial derivative of z with respect to x. Okay, let's try solving this. When we do this, let's indicate na rin as our guide na y is constant. Lahat ng y constant. Let's do it. So, yung 3x squared, kapag in-implicit differentiation mo, this will become 6x. So, just normal, ano lang, implicit differentiation. Ito, we've established na y is a constant, so this is just 0. Ito, z raised to 4. So, that is minus 4z cubed, partial derivative of z with respect to x. Plus, ano yung constant mo dito? 2y squared. Tapos ano yung derivative ng x squared? 2x. Minus, we've established na y is a constant, so ang constant mo dito is 4y cubed times the derivative of x cubed, which is 3x squared. Since with respect to x na hinanap natin, equal to, derivative ng constant is 0. So, lahat ng may lahat ng may gantong terms, ilipat sa kabila. Lahat ng wala, ilipat sa kabila. Then, we'll get this. So, magiging 6x plus 2y squared. Wait, i-simplify na rin natin. 4xy squared minus 12x squared y cubed is equal to 4z cubed dz over dx. So, yung partial derivative of z with respect to x natin is equivalent to 6x plus 4xy squared minus 12x squared y cubed all over 4z cubed. Very standard implicit differentiation. I hope na-refresh yung concept na yon. So, let's try naman yung yung partial derivative of z with respect to y para may more practice tayo. Let's establish here pa lang na x is, lahat ng x constant. Okay? So, what will happen is, ito, constant. So, constant yan. So, yung magiging derivative ng constant is 0. Minus 2y cubed. Ano yung derivative ng 2y cubed? That's just minus 6y squared. Then, we've got this one. So, same lang siya actually. Minus 4z cubed dz over dy plus dito, anong constant mo? So, ito, 2x squared plus 2x squared times yung derivative ng y, which is just 2y. Okay? Ito, ang constant mo dito is negative 4x cubed times yung derivative ng y cubed, which is 3y squared equal to 0. Okay. Ilipat to sa kabila, so you get negative 6y squared plus 4x squared y minus 12x cubed y squared is equal to 4z cubed dz over dy. So, isolating this, you'll get the final answer. Is negative 6y squared plus 4x squared y minus 12x cubed y squared all over 4z cubed. Yun. So finally, yes, last na, we have total differentials. So yung gagawin mo lang dito is dw is equal to w over with respect to x. So gawin mo lang yan for lahat nung ano niyan, nung variable. So dy plus dz plus, pero that's not it. You also put dx dito, dy, hindi na yung may curve, dz, then dr. It also has its applications, but for now, this is just the formula in getting the total differential. Let's proceed now to the example. So, to illustrate this. So we have here z is equal to 2x sine y minus 3x squared y squared. And you want to get the total differential. Just do the formula kanina. So, dz is equal to dz over dx, kasi dalawa variables natin dito, x and y, times dx, plus the partial derivative of z with respect to y, times dy. So, kukunin natin ito, tsaka ito. Na-try na tayo. Yan yung ginawa natin kanina eh. So, let's try ito. Again, this is the same as this. Iba lang yung notation. If you get that, we should establish dito na y is a constant. So, let's try solving it. Dito, anong constant mo? Sin y. Okay? Times derivative ng 2x, which is just 2. Ano yung constant mo dito? 3y, negative 3y squared. Multiply it by the derivative ng x squared, which is just 2x. So, ito, yung fx mo is equivalent to 2 sin y minus 6xy squared. Meanwhile, punta tayo sa partial derivative of z with respect to y. So, yan. X naman yung constant. So, fy is equal to, dito anong constant mo dito? 2x. Anong derivative ng sin y? That's just cosine y. Then, anong constant mo dito? Negative 3x squared. times yung derivative ng y squared, which is just 2. If we simplify this, you'll get 2x cosine y minus 6x squared. Wait, sorry, 2y to. Y. You just plug this in dun sa equation natin. Okay, so magiging dz, it's just that easy. Ano to? 2 sine y minus 6xy squared ng dx plus ito. Ayan, ito sa ilalim. 2x cosine y minus 6x squared y dy. And this is your final answer. And that's LQ4. What I discussed with you for the past few minutes are just the fundamentals, yung basics lang. Hopefully, it would be of great help as you prepare for the CALENG1 LQ4. However, I think it would be best if you not just watch this, but also do some practice exercises on your own, since may nuances like additional steps na ma-encounter nyo lang in some problems. But learning the basics, you should be able to answer them just fine. Actually, plug ko na rin. Syntax also makes formula sheets and reviewers, so make sure to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. You may also avail syntax tutorials by scanning the QR code flashed on your screens. Once again, this is Anella from Syntax, paving your way to excellence.